Hey,
Tom, Tom.
Yes,
I am
Brian.
undercover. I am so deep undercover. I'm so deep undercover that
are you even?
I know, right? First of all, I want to sing the praises.
I'm sorry. No, I can't do this. I can't have you be outdressing me, Brian.
What? I always look this way.
Here.
Okay.
Now I feel better.
Fair enough. No, as a matter of fact, for my 50th birthday, your friend of mine, Andrew Heaton, he got me a illegal counterfeit Rolex, which I never wear.
Yeah, that's great.
But if I am going to be undercover as a proper gentleman,
of course,
I'm wearing this totally fake Rolex. Isn't that great?
It fits. Does it look more real when you're dressed in a suit coat?
It does. As a matter of fact, I couldn't bring myself to wear my beloved Garmin Vivo Active. I looked down and I was like, oh, no. Actually,
that's just not
Garmin
done.
Phoenix 8. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, we have lots of business content in Cordkillers today. This is perfect.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we do. Shall we dive in? Oh, wait, let me take a look and see where the fine folks in the chat is.
Oh, yeah. Where you at, chat? Hey, W. Scottus1.
Beautiful. Oh, I got to connect the YouTubes on there.
Hello, killers of chords. We take the chords, we put them up against the wall, and we say, can we get what we want, when we want, wherever we want? Because if not, you know what happens next, chord?
I don't know. What?
We kill it. That's the implication was we're the chord killers. So.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. We murder the chord.
Yeah. Past tense. Acquitted.
Acquitted. Never convicted of killing that chord.
That's right.
You don't know it was us, but your name is Cordkillers. It could be a metaphor.
Oh, I'm going to make sure I didn't screw everything up by logging in. There we go. Hello, NC. Hello, Gambling Man. Hello, W. Scottus1.
Gambling Man, thank you for saying fellas plural, even though you really just mean Brian.
What do you mean?
He said, looking snappy today, fellas.
Oh, no. I don't know. The multicam is a flex. I should have brought a tripod. Because I got the
If you do it fast enough, it's got kind of a max headroom feel.
The thing about the marketing is, all right, shall we, sir?
Let's do it. I am going to count us in. Amos is going to roll that music. Here we go. In 3, 2. Killers, the world of entertainment is turned upside down. We're just trying to find out how to watch what we want, where we want, whenever we want. I'm Tom Merritt. Where's the good stuff, Brian?
Deep in the heart of Phoenix, I almost said Nevada, Phoenix, Arizona. I'm at the National Speakers Association, and so I did the thing. I pulled a Brian Brushwood, and I got like a giant suite for $80 because it's all under construction. There's nobody in it, and so I set up multiple cameras and the whole production thing.
Oh, that's fantastic! Like, there's nobody in the hotel because of all the construction. So you
exactly, yeah.
But it doesn't sound loud. I'm not hearing like pile drivers or anything. So
no, they do have giant disclaimers saying, "Please close your privacy drapes. Construction people will be right there at all times."
You look out your window and there's like 6 heads just looking at.
There kind of was.
What you doing? What's going on
exactly.
there? You doing a podcast? Well, we have lots of business news. That's the real reason Brian wore a blazer. So
That's
is
right.
it a blazer or a suit coat? Actually,
well, I got a full suit, my friend.
Oh, it's a suit coat. My apologies. We shall then proceed with all expedited puffifery to the supply run.
There you go.
Supply run.
And is it sad that San Diego Comic-Con was this weekend and it's not really like what we're
nobody noticed?
Talking about. At San Diego Comic-Con, Adult Swim announced it has picked up President Curtis, a series based on the character President Curtis from Rick and Morty, set in the same universe as Rick and Morty. It is produced by Dan Harmon and James Siciliano. It follows the commander-in-chief and his eccentric staff as they tackle the kind of crises that Rick Sanchez could never be bothered with. I'm reading from the log line now. From interdimensional diplomacy to paranormal investigations and unexplained phenomena. It's not technically the first spin-off of Rick and Morty because they do have Vindicators 2, Last Stand Between Earth and Doom. They have the anime. There are multiple shorts and games and stuff like that. But this is kind of the first traditional, like we're taking a character and spinning it off into its own series. And that led me to think, Brian,
yes,
for every Frasier, there's an Aftermash. For every Laverne and Shirley, there's a Joni Loves Chachi. So we're not trying to decide if President Curtis is going to be a success or not, but what is it that makes a spinoff a success?
Well, first of all, keeping to the heart of a show, I think, is a prerequisite. You know why Deep Space Nine worked right alongside Star Trek The Next Generation? I don't know, because it was the same universe with the same rules, with the same tone, just slightly different top spin.
Star Trek The Next Generation, also a spinoff. People forget, right? Like, the original series was the main show. The Next Generation, even though it came many years later, was kind of a reboot, if you will.
Well, so in that case, you have the same aesthetic, the same type of universe, just two different angles. One is if it's a wagon train to the stars. The other is, what about the next town over, being sheriff of a small town, right?
Right.
Now, part of the reason, and I did not really invest a lot of time watching Rick and Morty, the anime, because basically it looked a lot like Rick and Morty, but what if it wasn't funny? The end. And I
thought you were going to say, but what if it was drawn differently? But okay, yeah,
no,
fair.
Just what if it wasn't funny? It's a nice love letter. It's a interesting stunt. I don't think it worked for me. I haven't watched Vindicators 2, but I think that similarly, let's look at what was the spinoff of Cheers about Carla's extended family? The Tortellis?
Oh, right. The Tortellis. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, that one didn't work. I don't know if that was a case of just bad writing, but Frasier worked in many of the same lyrical rhythms that Cheers worked in. It was familiar. Now the ritual was different, the environment was different, and it was divorced from the universe. But it did satisfy that same niche. But I don't know. I'm very bullish on President Curtis. I think this is going to be a great show. I think that they've already proven. You remember the episode where they crossed over? They had essentially the two of them in a pissing contest with two different flavors of achieving the exact same objectives. I love the idea of, instead of nanotech, it's steampunk, basically.
Yeah,
I'm totally here for it.
Yeah, there are lots of different kinds of spinoffs. Happy Days technically was a spinoff. It was what they call a backdoor pilot. It was an episode of Love American Style, or not even a whole episode. That's not what we're talking about here. Simpsons was a short within the Tracy Ullman show that spun out. That's not what we're talking about here. I guess this is somewhat similar to Law & Order SVU, which was a different version of Law & Order that went on to become more successful than the original. But I feel like either the Jeffersons, which spun out of All in the Family, or Frasier itself, which was a popular character from Cheers that spun out, are what we're looking for here with President Curtis.
What about Benson out of Soap?
Yeah, Benson out of Soap. That's another one like Frasier, where the character was spun out of Soap and then arguably became more familiar and more popular, generally speaking, than the original. And I'm not saying President Curtis has to be more popular than Rick and Morty, but if it's going to be successful, that's the track it has to be on, right?
Yeah. And also a song in the chat says, for every Breaking Bad, there's a potential Better Call Saul. That's a good totally one. Works. That's another great success.
And that's one where arguably Better Call Saul isn't more successful than Breaking Bad. It's just different. It feels more like the Star Trek thing where like, here's another very successful story in the same universe, right? Versus like a spin-off where a character has gone off and done its own thing. And President Curtis is very much like, we're taking a recurring character, and spinning it off and calling it its own thing. A direct analog to this is The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, which just got renewed for a fourth and final season, which I sorry, forgot was a show.
Yep. I mean, Tom, I feel like it can never die.
That's the problem. This is it. Final season. They're going to smash it in the head with a shovel or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We promise never to spin off into boredom. We will always be here to help you understand all of this. As long as you support us at patreon.com/cordkillers.
Heck yeah. As a matter of fact, before we get to the Patreon plug, let me remind people, write us at cordkillers@gmail.com, because I think we cracked open the subject of good spinoffs and bad spinoffs. And I think both of our brains short-circuited. And right now, I guarantee you, everyone out there listening is thinking of at least one that they're screaming in their mind, either a terribly good one or a terribly bad one. Or my favorite kind are the kind where most people don't even know it's a spinoff of a thing.
Maude, probably most people don't know is a show, but when it was actually current, was a spinoff of All in the Family. Everyone forgot that Maude came from All in the Family. The Jeffersons, people are like, I remember that was All in the Family. But there was so many of those kinds of spinoffs. And Mary Tyler Moore Show had a ton of there's all kinds of examples. So send them our way, cordkillers@gmail.com.
And while you got that browser open, then head on over to patreon.com/cordkillers. That's how you can keep us loud, live, and independent. For those of you guys who haven't heard the backstory, we are a spinoff of a show called Frame Rate that used to be on a network, but then that show got canceled. And so we decided to go loud, live, and independent, supported by all of you beautiful, beautiful patrons at patreon.com/cordkillers. Coming up on 15 years, we personally murdered cable, and now we're hungry for the good content. And that's what we bring to you guys. You get early access to the full experience. That's where we watch the first, ultimate, lowest, and last episode. We also, you get exclusive access to our After Talk segment, where we take you all the way behind the scenes. And most importantly, you get the smug satisfaction of being a patron at patreon.com/cordkillers.
That is correct, folks. And that has led us on a long, long search called the Search Party. Amazon wants to do it again. They want to capture lightning in a bottle. They want to make a TV series based on a video game. This time, it's Wolfenstein, according to Variety. The show's logline is, "The story of killing Nazis is evergreen." That's it. That's the logline. Patrick Somerville, the writer and showrunner of Station 11, reportedly will serve as the writer of the Wolfenstein adaptation, with Lisa Joy, Athena Wickham, and Jonathan Nolan producing the show. They also produce Amazon's Fallout show.
I'll tell you what, man, I did not expect Fallout to be just perfect. Just perfect. Just everything this fanboy ever wanted. Fallout crushed it so bad, so good, that it has infinite credit in the bank to Brian. And now I, for one, cannot wait to see where Wolfenstein goes, especially since, of course, I'm the target demographic. If you listen to World's Greatest Con, I snuck in there a Wolfenstein reference in the Q-Ship episode. But also my brother worked on Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I'm very fond of this franchise. And so I suspect, now I would have been very skeptical 5 years ago with Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, and all we had on the record was their Westworld resume. But now with Fallout in there, chef's kiss. I'm a believer.
I don't want to do this to you, Brian, but remember how good season 1 of Westworld was?
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
So I'm really, really hoping that Fallout season 2 is also really good. I loved Station 11. I read the book first, loved the book, enjoyed the adaptation. It also was only one season, but that was because that's all the material they had. So I like this writer. I like this team. I'm waiting for them to have sustained success with a story. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing season 1 of Wolfenstein for sure. Netflix also approved Wednesday for a 3rd season. That's ahead of the debut of season 2 of Wednesday on August 6th. Paramount is going to release a movie in the theaters February 12th, 2027, starring Ji Young-yu, the voice of Zoe in K-pop Demon Hunters. The untitled film tells the story of a young Korean-American woman who defies her family's wishes by competing in a televised competition to find the next K-pop girl group. It would be the first U.S. studio film to be shot entirely in South Korea. And the reason I brought it to the show is K-pop Demon Hunters on Netflix has taken off way beyond what I think a lot of other people ever thought it would do. And so it has got to the point where Paramount is touting like, yeah, we have one of the voices from that Netflix animated show that everybody likes. And we're going to shoot in Korea, which no U.S. studio has usually done.
Okay, so as kind of you're pretty deep into the K-pop rabbit hole. Are you surprised by the success of K-pop Demon Hunter? Or
yes.
Okay, why?
Because K-pop exists in a world where it is usually misunderstood from the outside, like so many niche things, right? And so when something tries to take advantage of that and cross over, it either hits well within the niche and everyone else is like, yeah, I don't get it. Or it appeals outside the niche, but everybody in the niche is like, they totally don't get us. This did both the good things. It appealed outside the niche, and people within the niche were like, this is great. I love it. And you've got K-pop stars doing covers of the songs, and the song is charting, on worldwide charts and all of that. So I just thought it was kind of a niche grab. I imagine Netflix did too. And the fact that that it did good enough to satisfy the fans, but also appeal outside the fandom that's a hard trick.
Yeah. So in your case, you are not so much surprised because you didn't think it was good or you didn't think it had the potential to have mainstream appeal. You were just amazed by the technical excellence that they pulled it off.
I was, I was surprised how much people outside of K-pop fandom liked it. I watched it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's got a lot of cool in jokes. Songs are pretty decent. It's not a bad plot, pretty predictable, but fun. But no one else outside of that world is going to enjoy it. And it just took off like wildfire, and more people outside of the K-pop world like it than people inside, I think.
That's so awesome because for some reason, when you said that, it made me think of an old King of the Hill bit where Bobby takes a college class on comedy, and there's somebody who has this highfalutin Ivy League degree where it's like, there's funny, haha, the turn, the flip, and the doodle. And so he's doing something that's vaguely funny, but then he just drops it and then just starts making fart jokes, and the audience goes nuts for the comedy. And the professor runs up and he's like, don't accept their laughter, Bobby. It's ill-informed.
Yeah. And I would be fine with that if the K-pop world was like, that's a really bad movie, you shouldn't enjoy it. But they're not. The K-pop community is also like, yeah, we love it too. So it's just it's surprising that you can't accept the laughter. Squid Game star.
Sorry. I was going to say. Meanwhile, on that Wednesday announcement, I think I want to officially correct my eye-rolling position on announcing renewals going into a new season. I think that is perfectly fine, free PR bandwidth, just laying on the ground. And I don't mind people doing that as a go-to move, as a show of faith, like with actions. I'm increasingly dialed in, Tom, on the difference between words and what people do. It's almost as though actions speak louder than words. So you can put all the ads out that you want for Wednesday. You can tell people why they should watch, but nothing proves that you as an entity believe in this property like a renewal right before release.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this is what Netflix is doing here, and I'm pretty sure it's not what they're doing, but you can say you're going to renew something and change your mind later. So, it's not like it's the law now that there has to be a third third season, right?
I feel like that now that you've pointed that out, now that move is known, Khaleesi, then I feel like it's going to get played out.
Because I think the hesitation in the past was, let's see how the season does. and then we'll approve it. And what's happening now is like, look, guys, we know the data. We know how good it is. We are 95% sure this is going to do well and need a third season. Let's just announce it now, and then more people will hear about it, right? More people will be like, well, there's no risk in watching it. They're already going to make another season. It's not like I'm going to be, left with a cliffhanger at the end, and then it does even better, and then you get a third season. But were that gamble not to pay off and the 5% chance hold, they could always be like, yeah, so, just write everybody a check for writing that third season. We're not going to produce it because it flopped. I don't think that's going to happen here, but it could.
And we've talked before about how there's a little bit of, there are people like me who, when a property comes out, they will intentionally decide not to invest in it until they know whether or not they're going to be the sucker. And so they wait until they hear a friend of a friend say, no, it's good, you should go for it. And they just renewed it, so now you can get caught up and we can watch it together. And there's one notable exception to the general rule that it's a lot of fun to get, or I guess two. I'm looking at you, Lost in Game of Thrones. You bothered to get all the way caught up just in time for the epic disappointment at the end.
Yeah. Another quick note here. Squid Game stars Kim Seon and Ro Jae-won are going to be in season 2 of All of Us Are Dead, which is a zombie series on Netflix. So if you liked them in Squid Game, you can watch more of them on All of Us Are Dead. New season 2 trailer out for John Cena's Peacemaker, where he goes through a portal to an alternate dimension that he likes better than his own reality. We get a down on your luck version of Peacemaker. He's been rejected by Amelia Harcourt, runs away to that new universe. Season 2 of Peacemaker coming to HBO Max on August 21st for a run of 8 episodes.
I did not have a chance to watch this before we went live, but was there anything in this trailer, Tom, that indicated that, because Peacemaker makes a brief cameo in the new Superman movie, is there anything to indicate like which universe is which in this?
I did not see. It may be there and I missed it. Okay. So I did watch it, but I wasn't watching it with that eye.
There may be some tea leaves to read if
sure. So I don't want to say no. And then, actually, if somebody knows, cordkillers@gmail.com.
Cordkillers@gmail.com.
Just send us the email and pretend like I said the wrong thing, and then you can correct me, and it'll be fun for everybody. But
just title, subject line, well, actually, Tom.
Exactly. But you do see, it is, I think, intentionally blurring the lines so that you're like, wait, is that our Peacemaker in that scene, or is that the other Peacemaker from another universe? So, they're definitely having fun with that. TNT Sports will launch 8 consecutive weeks of exclusive Banana Ball coverage featuring the Savannah Bananas starting August 18th. The Savannah Bananas, if you're not aware, are basically the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. And this year they have exploded. They've been around for a few years, but they do choreographed dances. They do over-the-top walk-ups. They make, baseball an entertainment sport instead of a serious sport. And they now have a TV deal. So you can watch it on True TV as well as HBO Max if you're in the U.S.
Forgive me if we've already been over this part, but I do have to offer a correction because the Harlem Globetrotters, the star of the show is the tricks and the silliness, and the competition is quite honestly fake. I mean, nobody is doing Vegas action on the performance and the outcome of a Harlem Globetrotters show. However, the entire backstory of the Savannah Bananas is, as I understand it, basically from the ground up, they figured out everything that people don't like about baseball and eliminated it. All of the stopping the game so that the coach can go up and talk to the pitcher for 18 years, that is not allowed. You cannot do that. If the whole wasting time at bat can't be done. When a pop fly happens, when the foul ball lands in the stands, if somebody in the stands catches it, that counts as an out for the other team. So now it makes the audience players. And keep in mind, yes, there are flashy trick catches, but that is not done at the expense of the game. They actually, much like back in the day, the slam dunk kind of temporarily ruined basketball because everybody was doing slam dunks. And so they banned them. But then when you ban things, it's difficult. They later came up with the much more elegant design solution of the 3-point shot. And once there was a 3-point shot, strategically, it changed the entire game because you could take a high-risk shot from a distance, or if you feel like doing a slam dunk, you can. But now you got a much more balanced game. Likewise, in Savannah Bananas or Banana Ball, there is a risk reward. So let's say there's an easy pop fly and you're 99% certain you can catch it. Do you engage in the risk of doing a backflip to catch it to get an extra point for the trick shot? So yes, it is more flashy. Yes, it is more fun, but it is all in service of a very real competition, which is a lot of throat clearing for me to make my prediction, which is to really sell Banana Ball to the masses. It needs to break out of the current category that it is in your mind, Tom. Because right now, yes, that's the easiest way to make people understand that it's brash and flashy. But unfortunately, that's the same bucket as rigged, which these games are certainly not. So what I would hope is the behind the scenes would reveal real stakes for the very small, I think there are only 4 teams in the entire league, but very real competitions that are happening.
Don't dumb down sports stories for Brian anymore.
When he's wearing a suit.
We'll just pretend he knows more than you about them. Got it. Okay.
Did I? Oh, man.
Yes, point taken. And all correct. Everything you said was correct. Absolutely. I think you're right too. Like, I think they've got a challenge because you cannot buy a ticket to a Savannah Bananas game right now. You can't buy a ticket to the other teams in the league right now. And unlike Major League Baseball, the Savannah Bananas don't always play in Savannah, but can still be the home team. Like they 2 teams from 2 places will go play in Las Vegas. They'll go play somewhere else. So they're making it more accessible, and you still can't buy a ticket because everybody's going, right? They're sold out months and months and months in advance. It's incredibly popular.
8 months ago, I signed up on a waiting list, and I have heard nary a peep.
Yeah. I sent this to Molly Wood, who's become a big fan as well, and is like, I'm going to go to a game. And she's like, it's really hard to go to a game. It's impossible to go to a game. And then I sent this story to her. She's like, thank goodness I can watch them on TV, because apparently I will never be able to get a ticket to the game.
Now, that is one of the things that is on the horizon. So right now, it is at peak reputational, high quality show. Right? This thing is on rails. And if you've never seen one of these games, I am certain it is filled with delights and surprises. The memory that's popping in mind is the first time I saw arena football, when it was really popping and on rails. They had like 35 different classic rock songs they were playing in the middle of it. It was great. But after doing just one game, I'm pretty sure I saw all the arena football that I was ever going to see, because it was just going to be more of that flavor. So now the question, as they go on the mainstream, there's a difference between a fad and a trend, right? Is this the beginning of a trend of more conscientious, genuine competition? Or is this going to be a pop and then essentially a pump and dump in terms of attention?
An infield fly?
Yeah. Oh, I'm unfamiliar, Tom.
Here are the teams: the Savannah Bananas, obviously, the progenitors of all of this; the Party Animals, the Firefighters, the Visitors. Just called the Visitors.
Where are the aliens?
No, they're just called the Visitors. They're in Florida, and the Texas Tailgaters. You've got a team down there in Texas.
Today I learned. Well, and it's funny. Okay, so this is another interesting friction point, because as a consumer, like, everything about this sounds awesome, but if I don't know if I can't consume the product, it's hard for me to invest, because I don't mind.
Right.
Like, you remember when Bryce was like, yeah, I just want to get in football. Somebody pick a college team that I should like. And then, conscientiously, Justin Robert Young was like, you should be a fan of the Ducks. And he became a fan of the Ducks. And
like a real serious fan of the Ducks. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm here to do that for the Texas Tailgaters. If only I could consume the product.
If only I could. Yeah, victims of their own success. Nobody goes there. It's too crowded.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the buried treasure.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, the buried treasure is where we talk about something we have watched or are watching so that you can add it to your to watch list, or maybe go like, yeah, I like that thing too. Or what? You like that? You're crazy. Brian, I knew you saw Fantastic Four. We have been following this story for years now. I hesitate to ask, what'd you think?
Tom, it's been the 48 years of 45 years of following the story of the Fantastic Four. Got deeply invested in the comics. I have one of the very first ones from, I don't know, 1960s, I think. And it is not a perfect movie. But then again, Fallout is not a perfect adaptation. It's not a perfect TV show. Fallout is, however, a very faithful adaptation of the video game that is a fun, a delight, and a visual treat in a world that my mind keeps going back to. And Tom, I am proud to tell you that the alternate MCU world, where Earth 838 is, or I think that's it. Whatever. They start off by saying, "Not your Earth, get over it." And the retro future, bizarro, totalitarian, superpowered crime-fighting regime where Pan Am exists. It's great. It's great. It's great.
Yes.
It's great. I think that there are, I don't know who enjoys it on what level. If you enjoy it because you're vaguely familiar with the Fantastic Four, you're going to have a great time. It's a solid movie. The scope, man, to go straight to Galactus, there's a bit of heavy lifting to do, and you got to do some massaging to get your head around, real stakes, where credibly a guy who, shoots fire into the eye of essentially a celestial, you have to kind of squint to believe it. They pull it off. The stakes are great. There is, I don't think this is a spoiler. I don't think it's a spoiler. Mm-hmm. There's a shadow of Latveria that you see that, and you're like, oh, well, I wonder if that'll turn into something, which it totally will, as we know. The retrofuturism, the design is chef's kiss. I want to go back and trace all of the source media for every trick they played, from the multi-camera to the fonts for the decoration, to the brand names that they played with, to the minor criminals that are barely obliquely referred to in the background. This movie comes out of the gate swinging with so much depth and richness and hammy old-fashioned family values that play. And by God, Ben Grimm does great as the Thing, and you get to see Natasha Lyonne as a love interest to Ben Grimm. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. People called it a gender swap with Silver Surfer. Forgive me if I'm getting this wrong, but there is within the comic book universe a different female Silver Surfer. This is her story. The complaint from my daughter was, both of the women characters were moms. And my wife was like, yeah, isn't that rad that moms can be badass? And then my daughter is like, conforming to gender stereotypes much. I'm like, dude, you can't win. But it plays. I look forward to watching it a second time. It's if you can, it's worth seeing it in IMAX. It's full screen in IMAX the entire time. We were late, so the kids were complaining that we were front row center at the IMAX. But given the quality of the presentation, I did not mind looking straight up the entire time. It only made the entire thing seem larger than life. Highly recommended.
Fantastic. 4. I watched Superman. I'm lagging. I'm lagging a little on you, Brian, but I watched Superman with my father-in-law and my wife. Eileen and I loved it because it's about Crypto, the dog. The minute Crypto came on scene, we were looking at each other like, oh, yeah, no, that's exactly what our dog does. That is what our dog would do if he had superpowers. Yeah, we loved that element of it was perfect. Now, granted, it's an incredible movie for non-dog lovers as well, I assume. But that really made it for us. And it's got some of that Silver Age appeal, even though it's not retrofuturism like Fantastic Four, which I think is an interesting trend. We're seeing some of that. The robot
designs were
yeah, absolutely,
in terms of
right?
expression, but also they did have some retrofuturism to them.
Yeah, without being as like we are set in retro future land, right? They had some touches about that. I thought it was a great story. I thought he did a good job of having some homages to the Superman that my generation grew up with in the 80s, Christopher Reeve and all of that, without being too heavy-handed on it. When we were done, we turned to dad-in-law and said, "How'd you like it?" He's like, "Oh, he got beat up so much. They should have called him Super Weak." He didn't like it. He didn't like that Superman had stakes. He just wanted to see Superman beat other people up the whole time.
So, like, quite literally, he's like, "Oh, you know what I didn't like? That they solved the one problem with Superman is that he's unfathomably powerful and it ruins the game."
It was kind of refreshing. Like, it didn't change my opinion at all, of course, but I was like, oh, that's a take. That's a valid take. You're like, I came for Superman. I just wanted to see him be Superman. Like, all right, that's fair.
Well, while we're on the subject of Superman, I'll steal one from the emails. We got an email from Yaru that called me out correctly because I said, what would cause a Lex Luthor to want to kill a demigod? And I said, to be a king. And he says, no, I have it backwards, because there's a line where Lex says that he's doing the thing to become a king and have his own land, so that because he knew it would cause Superman to intervene, which I now remember was kind of an homage to the having to choose between Lois and the missiles from the first Superman movie.
Right.
And also, it does make the point where it's like he would bother to become king so he could kill a demigod, which I thought was a very good reversal.
Yeah. The other thing I watched this week was My Melody and Kuromi on Netflix, because we have our 8-year-old niece visiting us. So she dominated the television show. It is like claymation style animation. It's very cute. Your kids are going to love it if they like the Sanrio characters at all. I thought it was very well constructed and smart, and almost too good at making Kuromi like have to take a heel turn, in reverse, go from being the heel to becoming an ally. A face turn. Yeah. But why couldn't I remember that? But My Melody and Kuromi on Netflix, also recommended. If you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. Why are you at a speakers convention, Brian?
Well, because, look, here's the thing, Tom. People evolve over time. And I don't know if I've said it 75,000 times or not, but I turned 50. And I've done a decade as the scoundrel. I've done a decade as the warrior. And we are beginning the gentleman era, in which I drop the act and I reveal that I know a thing or two about whether it's becoming an independent creator, about whether it's marketing and branding, whether it's about the fundamentals of good storytelling or production. And as a matter of fact, I'm wanting to pass on everything I know to anybody who wants to do anything like what I've done. I lived the timeline where I quit my day job, and 2 years later I was on The Tonight Show, had a successful career touring colleges, and on and on and on and on. And there is some kind of weird biological pull that causes me to want to pass that on, which is why we're doing the Do Your Weird Thing workshop weekends. The next one is coming up September 19th, 20th, and 21st. It'll be me and Matt Donnelly. Tom has, air quotes, an anniversary to go to.
I mean, you could hold it in Las Vegas. That's where I'll be on my anniversary, but okay.
You know what?
Do whatever
Actually,
you
maybe
want.
we should. We eventually will take the show on the road. But basically, you're going to learn everything that I've learned. Here's the pitch to folks who are like, well, I don't want to quit my day job and be a podcaster. That's fine. you do have something inside of you that you know needs to be heard. You know you've got that creative project and you don't want it to land like a wet fart out in public that said the other F word. You want it to land so that people applaud and support it and make a difference. Whether what you're doing is lobbying for legislation or trying to make that comic book actually be a reality, whatever it is, it's inside you. It belongs out in the world. Brian knows a thing or two about it. Why don't you sign up? Go to scamstuff.com. Now, I know what you're saying. I'm sorry, did you say scamstuff.com? Yes, that's right. Brian Brushwood plays business on hard mode. To get in the, I don't make it easy to get in the door. You have to walk past a pit of spikes. Go to scamstuff.com, type in the word weird. You're going to see a picture of me and Matt holding goats. And then I want you to give me $1,000. That's how this works. But in exchange, you're going to get 2.5 days of a workshop of all polished, top of the line stuff, a workshop all about your project. Tom, you went to it. How was it?
Oh, yeah. No, it was fantastic. And I went to it because I wanted to help Brian, because I wanted to share my story, because I wanted to meet folks who were wanting to do this. And I had a better time than I expected. I expected to have a great time because of all those things. And it was just fantastic. It was chill. We got to sit around and chat with people one-on-one and just, talk about things, but also was structured so that we had times when we were like working on things and making progress. And it was really the best of all possible worlds. So I highly recommend it. And I'm really sorry that I can't make this next one. I hope to make with them in the future.
Well, we're going to have more of these, but the one we care about right now is the one in September. Book your flights right now. Come on down, 19th, 20th, 21st of September. Scamstuff.com.
Do it
Might
now.
want to work on that name.
While we scan the horizon.
Send a scanning to avoid.
Scanning the horizon!
So, previously on Cordkillers, we announced that Warner Brothers Discovery would split up into two pieces. The Streaming and Studios Company, which would house Warner Brothers Television, Warner Brothers Pictures, DC Studios, HBO Max. This is very similar to what Comcast is doing, the so-called money-making parts, the gaming studio. And then Global Networks, which would be all the dying TV brands, CNN, Discovery, TNT, etc. But also sports. They put Bleacher Report, they put Discovery Plus, their streaming service, in there. So it wasn't exactly the same as what Comcast did. And I joked when we covered this, well, Brian, I hope for my own sake, they just make it simple and call one of them Warner Brothers and the other Discovery. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers did just announce its post-split names. One of them is Warner Brothers and the other is Discovery.
I mean,
they did exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, congratulations. How does it feel to be so right?
It felt great, actually. When I saw this, I laughed out loud and immediately texted Brian and Amos because I was like, hey, we nailed it. And this makes sense. All the Warner Brothers stuff is in Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is a heritage name. Everybody knows it. They know it for film. They hear the Casablanca theme, whether they know that's the Casablanca theme. And then Discovery has always been a TV brand. It's always been about the Discovery Network and educational stuff and informational stuff on TV. Interesting that they're putting sports over in the Discovery pile. I'm curious about that, but yeah, it makes sense to me.
You know what I like about it is that it's the exact opposite of what HBO Max did.
Or is it?
Actually, I don't know. No, I mean, no, there are differentiators.
There's parallels. It's not the same because they took
HBO
Warner
Max,
Brothers Discovery and merged them and called them Warner Brothers Discovery. And now they're renaming them Warner Brothers and Discovery.
I know, right? But each one will mean a thing. Like a brand can change what it means over time. But in general, you got to keep them in their own lane. Like let Discovery go from meaning you're seeing a sunset in HD in the mid-aughts because you need something in HD on your new HD TV, and instead let it evolve over time to be, reality shows or something.
Yeah.
But then let it evolve after that. But once you commingle and throw everything in one bucket, it's very hard to extract it. And in fact, That's what HBO and Max were trying to do, is extract out, but they had already commingled. Your Hacks was technically a Max, but it felt like an HBO. And then you go there to watch Rick and Morty. I don't know. I'm so confused. I'm a straw man that Brian Brushwood just made up.
This is a long con by David Zaslav to become CEO of Warner Brothers. Instead of just quitting Discovery, he engineered a merger and then became CEO of the combined company and then stayed with Warner Brothers when they unwound the merger.
Tom, I am convinced that you could commit any crime if you do it slow enough. So I am on board with your theory.
Speaking of crimes, 42-year-old Christopher Lee Dahlman of Las Vegas, Nevada, has been sentenced to 7 years in prison for conspiracy to commit copyright infringement. Dahlman was also found guilty by a federal jury of money laundering, criminal copyright infringement by distribution, and criminal copyright infringement by public performance. Why? Dahlman operated Jetflix with a J, which found pirated content elsewhere on the internet, stored it on servers in the US and Canada, there's your big mistake, and sold it to tens of thousands of subscribers to stream or download. Jetflix operated from 2012 until it was shut down by the FBI in 2019.
Yeah, dude, piracy. It's interesting that I have forgotten it. As long-timers will know, it was 15 years ago that I had to give up piracy because I was becoming a public figure and doing a show with Tom Merritt in which we talked about, all caps, legitimate ways to watch what you want, when you want, whenever you want
where
it,
you want, etc. Yeah.
And when we first got started, it was a scourge was the fact that the most convenient way to watch high fidelity anything was piracy. And we had seen multiple iterations of people trying to take a bite at these apples. What was it? Popcorn Flicks or something?
Yeah, right. Something like that. Yeah, I remember that.
Plugged into the Pirate Bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were tons of those. But now it is a niche. It's not gone, but it is a niche. You may have noticed I kept saying Comcast is doing a similar thing. Yes.
Oh, I was going to say I actually don't know how rampant or niche is, but I do know that it's left the conversation in polite society. I don't think people are avoiding the topic just around me. I just hear it less.
Comcast has named 2 people to the board of Versant, the former Spinco. This is when I was saying earlier, Comcast is doing a similar thing. This is the similar thing that they're doing. Mark Lazarus will lead the new company. Rebecca Campbell, former chair of international content and operations at Disney, was named to the board. But yeah, it's a little bit different here. Comcast and former CEO of Yum Brands, David Novak, was named to the board. Versant will be the USA Network, CNBC, MSNBC, Oxygen, E, Sci-Fi, and Golf Channel, along with complementary digital assets Fandango, Rotten Tomatoes, Golf Now, and Sports Engine.
Yeah. Yep. They'll always be Spinco to me. That's it. Unless I'm alone. Might be that I lost the internet. Gonna find out whether or not I'm connected.
I would say you are connected. Our other host had to briefly leave.
I'm really glad I didn't just assume I wasn't connected and start picking my nose or something. You know, I'm glad that we have this moment like this, Amos. I'm glad you're here.
Well, I'm here for you. Like literally, I'm here.
Ahoy! You're here for me, Amos.
Yeah, for those watching that are not familiar, Tom has daycare issues with his dog, and he's got to go solve that problem right now. So,
is that what's going on? Okay, well then this will be edited out. So in the meantime, we could take this brief moment to thank everybody for joining us live.
Yeah, that'd be great. Who do we have?
Yeah,
we got a bunch of people in here, but I'm noticing not all the people that are watching us are in the chat room. We should have more of the people watching adding things to the chat.
Yeah, no, we
GG
definitely
is here almost every week. You got Pete 31415 saying hi, and C Brian Brushwood going solo.
That's right. Tom's beard says thanks for watching. Fiora showing up, chat for chat's sakes.
I'm good with chat for chat's sake. Like that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't chat bots. They don't chat just for chat's sake. They just watch.
Well, here, if we're waiting on Tom anyway, why don't I do my mid-show ritual while you can just say hello to everyone.
Chats.
Yeah, you read chats and I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
Well, chat room, you have you've done it now. You're hanging out with me, and I don't normally sit on TV by myself. I guess this isn't TV. This is how I watch TV. See, W. Scott is when you're saying Tuesdays now. 15th anniversary of Frame Rate is on November 10th, and that falls on a Monday this year. That is interesting. I'll put that in my pocket. That's interesting. There might be something there. Pete 31415, you haven't talked about the next full experience yet. That will actually be talked about on this week's episode of After Talk. That's where that will be. So if you don't know, if you aren't a subscriber to our Patreon, the patrons get a show called After Talk, which is between 5 and 30 minutes of us talking about how we do the show and off-topic stuff, and sometimes adding more to the things we talked about on the show. But the lowest week is the week we will decide on what we're going to watch for the next full experience. So this week we will decide during After Talk what the next full experience will be. And if you are a subscriber, you will find that out later on tonight or tomorrow, whenever I get this published. Whereas everyone else will have to wait at least until next week before they find out what the next full experience will be. So that's how that works, and that's one of the benefits you get if you're part of the crew that can get After Talk. You find out just a little bit sooner what we're doing for the next full experience. Last Friday, someone came into the house, Tea House, because they saw the Modern Road video. Oh, Brian's back.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, so boy, that was a close call. I'm glad you thought to mute my mic, because I definitely was almost about to pee when I realized I was still wearing the lapel mic.
I'm almost a real producer, Brian.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. This is why the beginning of War Games. This is why you got two people on two keys.
All right, Tom, you're back. So we have the crew all back together now.
Yeah, sorry about that. Where did we leave off?
It was funny because I just cut to taking it from Brian, or from you, Tom, to both of you, and then you took it just to Brian. I was like, what happened? Because I was lagging earlier and it got stuck on Brian for a little while my internet was waiting for me to click off, and I was like, what happened? Then I saw that you were taking a phone call. All right, so now we are back in here. I'm going to disappear. Tom, you can figure out where we left off, and I will see you all on the flip side.
And picking up in 3, 2, 1. Hey, Paramount's merger with Skydance has cleared regulatory hurdles and should close on August 7th, Brian. No one's upset.
Yeah, nobody was issuing biting, satirical, scatological satire with AI-generated evocative imagery.
Nope, certainly not a cartoon that would run on the Paramount-owned networks that Skydance is now acquiring. Not at all.
Yeah, lot of moving pieces in this story, Tom.
Yeah. The Skydance merger of Paramount seems to have been caught up in the current political climate. But honestly, that merger was on rails. It was going to happen, and the regulatory hurdles weren't expected to be very tall for it because Skydance is a smaller company, and really, I think what's happening is they are packaging Paramount and Skydance together with the intention of possibly being acquired by someone else down the road. I wouldn't be shocked. But this is now a more viable company. If not a Viacom, it's more viable. See what I did there? Yeah. Finally, Happy Gilmore 2 launched on Netflix July 25th. For the week of July 21st through the 27th, the film generated 46.7 million views over 3 days. Views in Netflix land is defined as total hours watched divided by total runtime. So it's every minute that is watched counts. And then you have to have the same amount of minutes as the runtime of the movie for it to count as a view. That makes this start the biggest U.S. opening weekend of all time for a Netflix film, as well as the best ever for one of Sandler's movies on Netflix.
Tom, I have terrible news for you. The Rotten Tomatoes score of Happy Gilmore 2 is 63%. Now, that is fresh, but just barely. Tom, I have wonderful news for you.
Rotten Tomatoes is part of Versant?
Nope. I have terrible news.
That is true. That is true, but that's not the terrible news. Okay.
No. Actually, you already heard the terrible news. The wonderful news, Tom, is that the original Happy Gilmore has a score of 63% on Rotten Tomatoes. So if you like the first one, I think you're going to like the second one.
Dead on. You know what shocked me about Happy Gilmore 2 is they're doing a fast food restaurant giveaway tie-in. So
go on.
I'll be honest, I don't remember which fast food restaurant. So it's apparently not very effective with me. I think it's McDonald's.
Subway.
I think it's McDonald's. But yeah, there's a Happy Gilmore 2 like member special cup for every member of the cast that you can get. So it's
well, I do know that I've seen
it's acting like a regular movie is what I'm saying.
Yes. Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't even know that Happy Gilmore 2 was coming, but I did notice that like the old merchandise or new fake old merchandise was all over the shopping mall because audio listeners, I'm wearing a suit. So I had, spoiler alert, I had to go to a mall for some accoutrement. And then I saw Happy Gilmore all over the place. And I thought it was like, that's a weird retro play. But now knowing that it was tied to a marketing push makes perfect sense.
Also, apparently it worked on 3 people in our chat room because they're all saying it was Subway, not McDonald's. So there you go. Thank you for the information. All right, hold now for the chatter.
You've got mail.
We got an email from George, who stopped getting Cordkillers in October, said iTunes no longer worked. He's a Patreon, has been watching by YouTube, but would rather get an RSS feed. How do I get the RSS feed, says George. Here are the steps, George. Locate and click on the creator from the left side navigation to be do we really want to do all the steps in the show of this, or can we just email this to George? Do you think this is useful for people?
Well, I mean, I know that it's an ongoing thing. I think he's talking about the video podcast is why I was asking.
Yeah, I don't know. Go to patreon.com, click on the creator from the left side navigation. That takes you to that creator's Patreon, or in our case, you go to patreon.com/Cordkillers. Once you're on that Patreon, click on the membership tab, go to the option listen in other podcast apps, and then you can select either Spotify or other podcast apps. Spotify will hook you right into Spotify, but if you don't use Spotify, that's fine. That'll provide you with the other podcast app selection will provide you with your RSS feed that you can then put in your podcatcher of choice. You may be right, Brian, that George may be a person who was getting the video RSS feed, which we don't provide anymore. And if that's the case, then yeah, YouTube is your option there.
Yeah. And nowadays, look, I mean, this is going to sound like a flippant, rude answer, but it's going to increasingly be totally normal. I consider vibe coding it by literally just talking to your agent of choice, describing what you want to have happen, and it maybe can just write a script to do it for you nowadays. It's bizarre.
Scott writes, Brian, thank you for mentioning the series Children of the Stones. I have some vague memories of seeing some seriously disturbing TV when I was younger, and this show sounded exactly like the kind of thing I could just barely recall. I would love to find them again and see them through adult eyes. I watched the Children of the Stones episodes on YouTube, and while it is cut from the same cloth as some of the shows I would like to rewatch, I don't think I've seen this particular series before. However, Now that I have this, I'm sure I'm closer to finding what I've been looking for. Thank you. I've been a listener and sometimes financial supporter of your other shows in its various incarnations, BB Live Show, NSFW, Night Attack, and Great Night, and I'm happy to have finally added Cordkillers to my weekly lineup. I'll likely be emailing again. I've already listened to all the full podcasts currently available. That's fantastic. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, I suspect that the full podcast or the full experience podcast it needs to eventually have its own feed, or I guess it does, or I don't know how we have it set up right now. But I'm glad you're enjoying them. Those are all evergreen.
Corey says, has Just Watch stopped working? Is it one of those sites that isn't free anymore? Everything I search for lately shows only as Amazon or Apple. For example, I searched for Gladiator 2 and Just Watch showed me Amazon and Apple, but I knew it was on Paramount Plus and I watched it there. Have you seen this behavior? Am I holding it wrong? Is there an alternative or a more current flavor? Thanks for the show. Been a follower since Frame Rate. I am not experiencing this.
Yeah,
I am seeing
but
things.
also we
in fact, let me try it right now. Let me look for Gladiator 2 and see what it gives. But I have not run into this problem yet.
Yeah, well, what's funny is when I read this, part of the reason I put this email in is because there would be a bias for us to not be able to know that that was a problem, right? Like in this case, he happened to know that it was available somewhere else.
I think I have the answer.
Okay,
Corey, when you do a search and you don't scroll, what you see is the promoted places, which for me are Prime Video and Apple TV. But if you scroll, you'll get Watch Now, which gives you Fubo, Paramount Plus, MGM Plus, Philo, and a bunch of others, as well as places to rent and buy, and even places to buy a ticket to see it in the theater, if it's still playing in the theater, which this one is. So that's interesting. Anyway, yeah, you probably just need to scroll. I'm guessing that's all it was. So you were not holding it wrong. Perhaps you were not scrolling it properly.
You're scrolling it. You're a scroll.
And we're not scolding you for your scrolling. We're just explaining. Sean writes, hey, Brian, Tom, and Amos. So late last year, I got a pretty sweet deal, $30 a month for ad-free Hulu, Disney Plus, and Max. But the return of HBO Max made my previous account with HBO Max supersede the account with Hulu that had all three streamers. It all worked out in the end. I just lost all the account information I had with Max, now HBO Max. The change of the names of the apps on my devices and Roku is the only reason this occurred. At least that's my best guess. This is frustrating since when I started this deal, I was able to transfer profile data from the standalone Max account to the Hulu account that had all three services. Sean, this should not have happened. It's not what is happening to most people, and I don't understand or have an explanation for you because they really did just change the name of the app. And your account should still be your account, your email address and your password. So I'm not sure how this happened to him.
Well, it could be, and keep in mind, like the whole way that I interact with HBO Max is because my home internet happens to be AT&T. If you have home fiber internet with AT&T, you get HBO Max for free. So weirdly, I log in through that third party thing. It never occurred to me, though, that I would be bummed about the data set being lost. I know that that's part of the reason we've talked about this before. In general, I buy everything within the Amazon ecosystem because at least I know all the things that I bought are in that one bucket. Sorry.
Oh, the sweat finally. I made the mic fall.
There you go. Yeah, it was a
your mic drop moment. Yeah.
There we go. That's part of the reason that I do Amazon for everything, because I know I bought movies twice, once on Apple and again on Amazon. And then for some reason you couldn't watch both at the same time. Quick side story. I was trying to watch Cabin in the Woods with my daughter over the phone. Same thing. It wouldn't do the Amazon Play on two devices thing. There was an iPad versus PC problem. So I ended up buying Cabin in the Woods 3 times in order to be able to watch it alongside my daughter. I didn't like it. So I appreciate deeply how frustrating it is to lose all of that data.
Yeah. And again, this doesn't make sense. My guess is someone gave you bad customer service advice because your account isn't with HBO Max or Max. It's with the company running that app. And yes, when they rebuilt the app and made you log in, there's a small possibility of this sort of thing that could happen. But even then, you're just authenticating an account on a server unrelated to the app. So my guess is something made you try to log in with an old version of your account before your bundle, and the customer service folks didn't clock to the fact that that was happening. Sounds like they fixed it for you. But I bet if you figure out how to log in with that other account that was for Max, that you'll might be able to find your profile history. But it sounds to me like you got bad advice. It's not something that's going to be very common for people, though. And it is frustrating. I'm sorry to hear that. That is it for Cordkillers. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live at twitch.tv/Night Attack Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. I reckon we'll talk to you next time. Pew.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
So can I just complain for a second
Finally.
while you fix your mic?
Yeah.
Our dog walker always says, I will be there to either pick up or drop off 7 in 25 minutes, 30 minutes. He is incredibly accurate on that stuff. And so when he says 30 minutes, it's usually exactly 30 minutes. He also always says arrived in WhatsApp when they have arrived. So because I'm trying to do the show and be on the lookout, I had WhatsApp front and center right in front of me, waiting. When is he going to say arrived? I was not looking at my phone for the Ring doorbell announcement. I was looking for the WhatsApp announcement for arrived. So when Eileen called me, I panicked and removed myself from the stage and was like, oh my God, is something going on with June? Are you okay? And she's like, no, Ben's there. He's just wondering why you're not answering the door. And then I went and I got the dog and everything's fine. But I was like, really? Today is the day you didn't put arrived? And it was my one signal that I was, never mind. Should have been looking at Ring doorbell, I guess. Anyway,
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
All right. Well, Brian's already done his.
I already did my ritual.
Oh yeah, so we can go right into the full experience then.
We
Yeah.
certainly can. I need to adjust the banner real quick though.
Okay, doke. The Bruce or the David banner?
It is not the ultimate anymore. It is now the lowest.
Chaka is back.
What number is it?
309.
309.
Baby Chaka. Baby Chaka. Riding
Chaka.
backwards on a unicorn, baby Chaka.
This episode, man.
I know. I'm
it,
just trying to hold it all in.
Save it. I like these little ones because I feel like our discussions go as long as the episode. And
They do. It's literally true.
Yep. All right. Let me click back over here, and then I'm gonna disappear, and then we'll.
All right. Here we go. In 3, 2. Welcome to the Full Experience. This is a series that looks at 4 episodes from a television show to figure out if we can get the gist of having watched the entire thing with just those 4. Full means first, ultimate, the highest ranked according to IMDb rankings, lowest, and last episode. Right now we are watching Land of the Lost, and it is time to go low. The lowest ranked episode of Land of the Lost was Season 3, Episode 9, Abominable Snowman, which first aired November 6th, 1976. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Tom, I have a theory that I'm developing.
Yeah?
And I've been sketching around
You're like
it,
the
but
Charles Darwin of the Full Experience.
Yes, exactly. When we watched the highest IMDb quality rated episode of Land of the Lost, I was not terribly impressed. I sent you a brief clip of my daughter watching it, and I said, "This is the highest rated episode." She's like, "What?" That episode was the highest rated episode because it was interesting in that it broke the pattern. The Sleestaks were slow, plodding creatures, and now all of a sudden we had a smart Sleestak who was Leonard Nimoy, basically, written in an episode written by Walter Koenig, Chekhov.
Right.
And now, so the reason it was beloved is because it broke the pattern and did something interesting and hinted at a wider world. When we have a lowest episode, it's one of two reasons. Either it's a standalone quirky project they were trying and they refused at the time to speak to the main narrative, instead of, they go off in the side somewhere, or it's because the episode is just same as all the other episodes, nothing new, innovated. That's what happened on this one. And we've seen several times on the full experience that if you're only watching 4 episodes, it is not a problem that an episode is all the same. It is a gift to somebody who just wants to get caught up on, like, oh, they're going through all this because these are all the things that they're always doing. This guy's always grouching about this or whatever. In that regard, this lowest episode, the first half of this, Tom, I was thrilled right from the opening credits where I'm like, oh my God, the dad, I guess. Like they brought me up to speed. They're all like, Brian Brushwood, look at the dad. Went through a
gone.
green screen.
We got a Jack now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now a new guy's coming in. And then right off the top, it's like, they're all like, we still are looking for dad. And then in walks that same character from the Ultimate episode. And we got Chaka. We were introduced to Chaka.
And Chaka, who we've watched 2 episodes and we've seen them both. So it's like, oh, okay, we haven't missed anything. Here they are.
And it was a great moment when they're all like, Chaka, this is what fire be like. And he's like, yeah, I know. I talk now. And I'm like, oh my God. This is even better.
I totally learned your language over the intervening episodes, but don't be shocked.
Yes.
We also had a 2-headed dinosaur, so it's like, oh, we got new dinosaurs going on. Yeah. Honestly, I felt like Jack was an improvement as an actor over Dad.
Those biceps, he knew his lane, and he seemed less abusive.
And then I feel like we might be going to the same place, because I was like, actually, this is a pretty great episode until we got to the cave, until we got to the abominable snowman.
Okay.
And they essentially took Chaka's costume with the face cut out, made it white, and put it on a bigger guy.
Yes. And also the guy clearly was an electrician or something. And I hope look, you're limited by the tools of what you have, and you can offset what they wanted.
They ran out of steam. They were limited by the tools this whole episode. They ran out of steam when they had the Tapa dance, and then they're like, I guess we just run past him and he gets mad. I don't know. Just get to the bridge. Get to the bridge.
Well,
that's the
also it was like, I mean, there was a good 4 minutes of them just standing staring at each other inside the cave. And that can work if you're going to do shot, reverse shot, a shadow
and build tension,
moves,
and
a bead of sweat on the eye. But instead, just a static wide shot of I don't know.
And they didn't even look nervous.
No, and it's just like, oh my God. Okay, so the problem is that they're trapped. Okay, so they go into a cave with the stated reason being that the guy can't get in there, but it's the guy's home. And the guy is in his own home, awkwardly confused by it.
Why are you in my house?
And then also it's like they don't want him to have his food, I guess.
Also, we kind of forgot we're there to save the unicorn for a while.
Yes.
Like the whole point was like, we have to save the unicorn. We have to save. How did the unicorn get across this bridge? I don't know. It's pretty crazy. And then like, oh, now we just need to run away from the snowman. I forget the unicorn. He's not important right now.
Yeah. And also, I believe she literally says, "Oh, it's just fire. It won't burn you." Like, I'm sorry. Isn't that literally the purpose of fire is to be burned?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, so when they get across the bridge, and then I guess the bridge fell while they were gone, so they didn't know it was there. But
yeah. In the bridge. Oh, you mean
the tree over the gap that they had to cut down a tree that just happened to fall right where they needed it to, and then that helped them escape. But
yeah, but he like threw it off the side at the, or was there an earthquake?
I feel like there was an earthquake or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he just ambiguously jumps around and Jack's like, that means we're never doing this again. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought up until the cave, and after they cross the bridge again on the way back, good episode, decent episode for Land of the Lost. Great episode. But yeah, I see where the abominable snowman thing made this episode go off the rails. Like it could be the worst episode of Land of the Lost just because of those scenes right in there.
Yeah. And man, I halfway through, I was wound up, man. I was going to go to the mat to defend this.
Yeah.
And certainly in the full experience, I would put, even with how nothingness and how narratively broken that 1/3 of the episode is, I would still kind of put this higher than the ultimate one in terms of like getting what the show is about. Like you get a sense of place in the world and progression.
This is kind of an argument for always watching them in chronological order, whether even if that means the ultimate comes after the lowest sometimes, because in this case, the lowest did come after the ultimate, and it showed us the progression really well. That the strength of this lowest episode for us was, oh, Chaka learned how to speak. Anika's still around. Dad disappeared, but we got a better actor with Uncle Jack. Like it really felt like, oh, I feel like I'm caught up on the entire run of Land of the Lost to this point. Which if this had been the ultimate, right, we would have got here and then we would have had to go back to Dad and it would have felt a little disjointed. But thankfully, that's not the way we have the order this time, and it works really, really well. I know I keep saying it, but man, is Uncle Jack better. Like I'd forgotten he existed, and I was like, oh, now it feels cohesive, right? It feels weirdly more like a family, even though he's the uncle.
Yeah. Well, and what about you, Amos? What did you think?
Gentlemen, I sat down. I had an idea, an epiphany. I sat down with a bowl of pasta and some spaghetti sauce, and I just needed the cheese. And this episode delivered. From the first time you see the unicorn, it's actually a costume.
Yeah.
To the unicorn itself having, like, you can see where they've strapped on. Yeah,
it's a party hat around on the Shetland pony.
Yeah. It was awful. The plot, it never at all did I have any buy-in on the plot. The fact that when she was in the cave, she hid in the entrance on her attempt to escape. So all of the dancing with the fire and everything else was completely extraneous because they were already at the entrance of the cave.
And entrance. No, but remember it well, no, it didn't avalanche.
The part that the singular thing that got me though was an execution error on the green screen when they initially go to the cliff side to crawl across or to go across the fallen tree to make it across the other side and make it over that gap. They're physically higher on the screen than when Jack and the brother come later. They're trying to make the scene over a larger part of the gap. Like it's not lined up. They're not even on the same. That's because
of the earthquake, Amos, obviously.
I did actually. I really dug the fact that they made the I don't know, the antler grappling hook thing and the lion as he was swinging across. I thought all of that really played with a decent sense of scale.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. Ann C just said the most brilliant thing in our chat room. For most of this conversation about unicorns and snowmen, I thought it was about Lost, not Land of the Lost. Still made sense based on the handful of Lost episodes I've seen.
Yes.
I mean, accurate.
Oh my God.
I would say at least, you know what? I don't even know. I was so completely disenfranchised by this whole episode. Just put me so far out of it. Like, how did I ever like this show at all? I was disappointed.
Nah,
The Land of the Lost Amos.
First half was great. First half was great.
I want to acknowledge the cake, because remember they were making a cake.
Yeah, why? How did they make a cake?
I don't know.
Okay.
How did she randomly decide to make a cake out of whatever ingredients she had? And then
I bet that cake is not good.
Well,
then they show up. They're like, "Hey, happy birthday!"
She definitely said, like, "Hey, what are the odds? Chocolate cake in Dinosaur Land."
Yeah.
But she makes a cake
for my
and then
own
they show
birthday.
Up. Yeah, then they show up and they're like, "Hey, happy birthday!" She's like, "Why is it today? My
I made
birthday?"
a cake somehow
because you made a cake and we found a unicorn. I guess I don't like that. That means birthday. I guess.
Yeah, we don't know what day it is, but because you made a cake, we decided it's your birthday.
Well, even that was before they noticed she made a cake.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love
the snowman stuff didn't work. Well, I mean, it didn't work, period. But
it did not.
It was fascinating all the different ways it didn't work. It was like they were trying to not make it work with the cinematography, not make it work with the staging, not make it work with the direction, not make it work with the plot.
It's like they stopped. Because I'm with you, Brian. I'm sorry, Amos. Like the first part of this episode, I was again within the Land of the Lost parameters. I'm like, it's not bad. I'm enjoying myself. I'm not needing to look at my watch and see how much longer we got. And then we hit the cave. And
I literally felt like instead of just a soundstage with like just a corner of a soundstage that they've been filming on this entire time, they couldn't use that corner this time. So they went ahead and just showed a recreation from a third grade class down the road. Mm-hmm. Everything was worse. Everything was worse.
Two-headed dinosaur was pretty cool, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was the Diplo double docus was pretty great.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's a scientific term. We got to go two-headed monster on this. On
Diplo double docus.
The Diplo double dang docus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, folks, if you were like, really, I'm a little uncomfortable with you calling it abominable snowman. It's actually a Yeti. You're really going to hate the next episode because the last episode of Land of the Lost, Medicine Man, is what we will watch for the next episode of Land of the Lost, the full experience. We will wind it all up with however it was they wound it all up. What are you expecting, Brian?
Man, I've given up trying to predict. I expect that, I suspect that they will not find the dad. I expect that they'll see it like a cutout of him or something. And
do you think they'll make it home? Or do we think we just like leave them in the Land of the Lost, hoping there might be other episodes someday?
I would, given the production schedule in the 70s, and this is one where I defer to what Larry knows about the production on this.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
I would imagine that they wouldn't be in the business of wrapping up narrative threads on something that may
doesn't
come
feel
back
like it. Yeah.
Later.
Yeah, exactly. Sid and Marty Krofft had a lot of like short run things that they might revisit in the future, so they probably want to leave their options open. I'm with you there. Amos, what are you expecting?
I'm going to go on a limb here and say we might be heading into the first time that I've been able to pick out some accidental racism. I'm not not happy about the title of this episode, and I can see being mid-70s, this going very bad to today's standards.
That's your prediction?
Yeah.
I think that's just a fact, Amos. I don't think that's a prediction.
I think they leave him stranded, and I think we
Medicine
end up
Man.
with another character that just doesn't get explained. A new character that doesn't get explained, and they just leave him in the land of the lost.
G. James B said there was an episode where they escape with the father before Jack arrived.
Oh, wild.
Okay.
I'm just asking Amos how they're going to get around some of those challenges when they're dealing with the medicine man.
I think the challenge is how we're going to get around it. Not how they did. I think they ran right into it.
Amos grew up in Indiana.
Yeah. There's nothing accidentally racist about that either.
Well, I mean, in the cave, there's some fire, water.
That was
all over
that
the
was
place.
an improvement. They weren't in the cave this time. They were in like an Aztec ruin or something. So at least they had better accommodations. Maybe.
Well,
that's true. I think they go back to the island.
Well, yes, they have to go back to the island. We'll let you know our chief findings next time, so please tune in at Patreon.
Be brave, warriors.
Patreon.com/Cordkillers. You get the episodes first, and we will see you next time on The Full Experience. Don't squawk.
God, I just feel like you were giving me the mic and just taking it back again and again, Tom.
All right, that's it for the live stream. After talk starts shortly after we say goodbye. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.